calling our sugar daddies that are watching this.
Call us 1-800.
Comment down below.
Below. Lower.
It's a below job.
We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers, stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now. Don't look back now.
Oh, I also have one more thing about Meg, just to add. So Meg and I used to be enemies. Or
Finding our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and seize the moment. Hold on tight and don't let go of all your hopes and dreams that light the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap.
Welcome to another episode of All Abroad Podcast.
Yes, Kat, I just want to say that I'm so thankful that we pulled the trigger to do this podcast because I can't believe we've done 20 episodes in season 1. And so far in season 2, we've had really, really great guests that have come on the show.
Yeah, we had Jhett Tolentino, 3-time Grammy Award winner. We also had Rosalind Covarrubias, who is currently the content producer for Mix Global. And then we also had Rafi Titenko, a fellow Bacolod fashion designer.
Yes, make sure you guys check those episodes out too. And Kat, yes, the other day you texted the group and said that you said it best when you said that we're glad that we're doing all of this because then 10 years from now, when we still look the same, or 20 years from now when we still look the same, that we can look back at all these episodes and you know, have something to show.
Exactly, especially not just the podcast episodes that we have on all the podcast platforms, but also the YouTube exclusive that we release, which are pretty much just videos of experiences that we have together as friends, like the spa day at the Glen Ivy, and also when you and Meg went to Filipino town.
Yeah, and for those of you that are just tuning in for the first time ever, it's actually usually 5 of us when we're complete, but you know, mommy duties and work duties. So a lot of times it's Kat and I that are interviewing our guests for season 2, but oftentimes we'll have like other episodes where there's all 5 of us too. So yeah, we're going to be Lolas one day and we're going to look back at these episodes and show our children and grandchildren one day.
Exactly. It's so fun. Well, today we have another VIP in the room. And you know what? This guy is so hilarious. I went on a kind of a rabbit hole the last 2 days, just going into all his videos. And I laughed so much. His content is being shared by a lot of Filipinos and also non-Filipinos who just loves how the titas roll.
Yes, and I'm so honored to have him here today, and he agreed to have a little chat with us this morning because I definitely stumbled upon his content several years ago. His first video that he actually just posted recently on Instagram, because I could 100% relate to when the part of his skit when he said, "Oh, she's here. Oh, she brought her boyfriend. Oh, he's black." Like that was me. I feel like the titas would say that. I'm like, and after that, I remember sharing it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is probably what the titas, you know, say. And he's so hilarious. Not only is he a content creator, he's also a singer and a chef. And I got to know him a little bit better on Clubhouse when he started to frequent our Tambay Line crew. Woo-hoo, shout out. So let's welcome to our virtual stage our guest for today, Jeppy Paraiso.
Hello.
Wait. I gotta do a reveal.
Oh no.
I wish I had a shirt.
I had to wear a jacket just so I could do that.
I love the jacket.
Yes. Welcome, Jeppy.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, welcome. And thank you for spending some time with us this morning. I'm really curious.
Mm-hmm.
What is your process for creating the content with Tita Jhett? I know the story, how it all was. There was no expectation on that first video that you released, like back in 2017, I think,
yeah,
right?
It was all like an accident. That's why the jokes there were kind of a little more savage than I would do now. Because I didn't think it was going to be seen millions and millions of times. But yeah, my process, it's different every time. Like, obviously, the holiday is a must because that's kind of how I started. So I feel like every year I have to do a Thanksgiving one, a Christmas one, a New Year's one. But then I get like and now I'm kind of adjusting because content creating is evolving, and now it's more quicker and snappier because of the TikTok and Reels. So I'm kind of readjusting how I do content, but I still do those like kind of long skits if I have an idea. But really, it's if an idea comes to me and I kind of pay attention to the trends, what's going on TikTok and stuff, and I kind of think like, how can I apply Filipino humor to this, whatever's trending? Is there like a word that I can pun in like Tagalog or Taglish or something? So I kind of have kind of like a formula for Tita Jhett.
Yeah.
So whatever is kind of in the waves, I kind of like, well, how can I apply Tita Jhett to this? Because I can't just take something and then just slap a Filipino accent to it and then it's like, viral gold. It doesn't really work like that. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I really have to like analyze like, what's the joke? What's the context of the joke or the punchline? And how can I apply like a Filipino flavor to it? And I'm also mindful of what other Filipino creators do. So it's not kind of like, if they do it, then, a month or so ago, everybody was doing Squid Games. So I was like, oh, I have to do Tita Jhett doing Squid Games and I have to have her as a contestant. But then everybody started like dumping their content on Squid Games. And the problem, I canceled Tita Jhett doing Squid Games because I can't wear green. I can't have her wear green.
Oh,
Yeah.
Green screen.
Yeah.
It disappears. So I was like, okay, I'll let this one go. I'll have everybody else have it. But yeah, it's whatever's in the waves. I kind of just if I can't really apply Tita Jhett to it, then I won't push it.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I just get ideas randomly, and I have like a whole like book of like undone scripts or just like random jokes I could maybe use later on. So it's like an ongoing process. But for the holidays, it's I always sit down and I'm just like, what do we go through this year? How can I apply, because Thanksgiving's, especially these past 2 years, Thanksgiving has been very different for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, well, how can I apply this like stressful year and have like a little light humor to it? So, from October to like after New Year, Tita Jhett is kind of like the busy bee because she has to say something because that's kind of how she started. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have like, I know I love like you kind of just breaking down the process a little bit more. Now that, Tita Jhett is, really going viral with like all these things, do you have like a disciplined kind of like structure to your day where you're like, I have, how like writers are, they're like, no, I need to like write, something like every day to get into that habit. Do you have like your structure or it's kind of like free flowing for you?
So for example, this past Thanksgiving one, I started it maybe a month ago. I always have my notes open just so if I'm like doing something and then I get an idea, I can jot it down real quick. So it's like the jokes and stuff I write over time. There's been times where I've thought of an idea and the jokes just flow and flow and flow, or the idea just flows. So I kind of just structure it out. And I'm kind of like, I always think in advance. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to film it in this order. And then I'm going to have like the background do this. So I'm very like technical when it comes to it. That's why it takes kind of a while. And like over the years, I've kind of polished the quality of Tita Jhett. It's not just point and shoot on Snapchat. I have a green screen. I Photoshop a background if I need to. I record the audio separate and I mix it myself so it sounds good on all devices. So I really put the effort in delivering her almost like an animated type, feature.
Yeah.
Because if you look back in the first couple years, it's literally just me pointing and shooting and just posting. But then over the years, I've because I enjoy it. It's kind of like relaxing to me, unless there's like a deadline. And I'm just like, I have to get it done. I have a structure. Some are more casual, like these like random TikToks. Like I do like Tita Jhett reacts to random stuff on TikTok. That's really just like whatever comes to mind, I just say and then post. Because that's kind of how I started. So that style everybody kind of looks for. So I kind of mix it up. I have like the sketches that are very structured. Then I have just random like 1 minute Tita Jhett appearances every now and then that are just random, just funny moments.
Yeah, I love that. And also just, for someone who didn't grow up in the Philippines, you are so connected to Filipino culture. How did that? I know, of course. I mean, your parents' upbringing for you, but like, what else kind of contributed to how in touch you are with Filipino culture?
I was born here in Virginia, and growing up in like the '90s, we had like a little Oriental sari sari store, and they would have a bookshelf of VHS tapes of the latest movies. Well, at that point, by the time it's VHS, it's probably not a popular movie in the Philippines anymore, but they would have like new Filipino movies. So my dad was a big FPJ, Fernando Po Jr.
Yeah.
fan, and my mom's a big Sharon Cuneta fan. So I would grow up watching those movies, and that was my only window to seeing what the Philippines was like, is through entertainment, through music, through movies. And watching it growing up, my parents would be like, "Oh, anak, that's what the Philippines looks like. That's the jeepney. That's the poor people. That's the kids going to school. They have to cross the river." And so I was exposed to what like real life was for middle class, low class citizens. It's not just the rich that that we see a lot now in entertainment, but it was I was paying attention to the background. I was paying attention to what how the neighborhoods were, how the barangays operated, how the communities used to always like be together. So that kind of imprinted me at a young age. And I think now that I'm older, it kind of planted the seeds of empathy and cultural appreciation for and then it's not until I got to like my teens and high school that I really tried to do the work to connect with the culture and connect with like the Filipino community and stuff, because growing up in this area in the 90s, nobody knew what Filipino was. Nobody knew nobody could point Philippines in a map, so it was just like, you're just Asian. You're just that Asian. So it's not, and I didn't have any guidance other than entertainment, so it's not till I connected with other Filipinos of all like Filipino Americans and immigrants that were going to high school here. It's not until high school that I really connected with the culture and understanding. But entertainment was a big part of it, because the first time I was in the Philippines, I was like still a baby, so I don't remember. And then like we didn't go for a very long time, and then like during the early 2000s we started going every year. So when I started going as a older teenager and in my 20s, I started finding that connection and appreciating it more.
That's amazing, and I admire that, because Kat and I grew up in the Philippines. We actually have been friends for 30 plus years. We've been friends since first grade. We went to the same.
Oh my God.
And then for some reason, all five of us, and you haven't met the other three, are in LA. So that's why we kind of started this. And so I appreciate that, because us, when we were kids, we were consuming American content and trying to assimilate the American lifestyle, until one day we moved here. And for me personally, when I moved here, I was still kind of assimilating that American lifestyle, like not really giving importance to Filipinos, because I don't think anyone really cared, and then it wasn't until I want to say during just this last 2 years that I kind of appreciated going back to my roots. So I really like that, that you say that. So my next question to you is, how has life changed for you since Tita Che?
Oh man. I mean, it's opened a lot of doors for me. I was, at the time it happened, I was working as a chef, and I was kind of to the point in my chef career where I was like pretty much burnt out. So I was just like, please, Lord, give me a sign of like, can I quit, or should I just stay here? And then the next day, Tita Che happened. So I was like, if that's not a sign from the universe, like, So that week was crazy. And then like, it happened in November. January, I started getting offers to work with brands. And then I landed a commercial an actual commercial in the Philippines for Globe Telecom. They wanted to do like a Mother's Day ad. So everything happened so fast. It was just a whirlwind. And like, luckily, my best friends they all work in showbiz in the Philippines. So I had guidance, and they're like, just enjoy the ride. You don't know how long it's going to be. Just say yes to everything. But if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. So I really like analyzed like who would approach me, if they were really, because especially nowadays with content creating is kind of like very saturated. So a lot of people will try to partner up with you for clout and don't really want to just create something great. They just they just think numbers, like views, numbers, followers. So I'm kind of good at having like a sixth sense if somebody wants to approach me and actually create something great, or just, use me use each other for, a following, and just like kind of just like this one moment. So I usually tend to say no to that kind of stuff. It happens rarely because a lot of the creators that I know became good friends. But I kind of know when like random people would message me, and I just know they don't want to create something. They just want to slap Tita Chant on it and be like, look who I worked with. Which like it just depends who it is. But yeah, it changed. The first 2 years, 2018 and 19, I was just traveling. I partnered up with TFC, who I'm still associated with, that I'm very grateful. They treat me, real well. And I've done events with them like ASAP. I've flown to London to do Barrio Fiesta. I also work really closely with Remitly, which is a remittance company. And they, they're partnered with TFC. So it's like this big... So I'm embedded in TFC, so I'm like loyal, and it's like a full circle because that's what I grew up on. Like in the early 2000s, we finally got TFC, and that was entertainment 24 hours, and like I actually like it. A lot of like the people that I grew up with think it's like cheesy or corny or just don't want to deal with it, but I was just like, I thought it was funny. A lot of my comedic writing and tones come from those early shows, like Okay Fine Whatever. I don't know if you guys remember that. Okay Fine Whatever, What a Man, Home Along the Riles. So it's just
Home Along the Riles all the way for me.
So it's like the snappiness of the context of the joke and how it's delivered. It comes a lot from that. So yeah, my life like really changed. I was just traveling for the first 2 years everywhere, networking, creating, friendships and relationships with people I come around with. And like every time I'm in a space and they ask like, what's your advice to like young creators? I'm just like, well, whatever space you're in, if you're in a commercial shoot, if you're working an event, be kind and nice to everybody, from the lighting guy, from the sound guy, to every little person that's walking around, because those are the people that make or break you, because those are the ones that chismes about you. And it's true.
I really love that. I really love that kindness has been the trend. I think a lot of people do say that, and a lot of people who are kind to everyone from the janitor to the CEO.
Exactly. Those are the people, like, let's be real, those are the people that talk.
Yeah.
Especially in Philippine entertainment, they're like, oh, wag yan, don't work with that, don't work with them, because they're so nasty on set, or they're, so I was like, I it's not in my character to act like that in a professional setting. I do have those qualities depending on who I'm. If I have to show it out.
Okay.
It's so funny. My friends were like, you need to use your name more. Like if we go to like a Filipino restaurant or something, like I went to like Jeepney in New York City and it was full. So I was like, okay, let's go somewhere else. And my best friend was like, can't you just walk in there and just be like, do you know who I am? I'm like, no, I cannot do that. I can't. I was like, first of all, I'm like not this like big. I'm not like Bretman Rock here, like compared to. I can't go in and be like, do you know who I am? So I'm
the
just like,
filter,
no,
the filter does not travel with you,
right? I think that's another like thing that sets me different from a lot of the other creators, is that a lot of people, unless you like really, really follow me, you don't know what I look like. If you just see me on your feed, you've just seen me with the filter. But then I have to deal with a lot of like second looks, like they're trying to figure out if it's me or not, and then I see them do this to check what I look like, and I just like, I know they're trying to decode, and like and I'm a big dude. I'm 6'1", and I'm pretty thick, so like I'm like built like a football player, so people automatically are scared to come up to me. So when people see me, and they don't come up to me, they message me later like, I saw you in this event and I was just too scared to go. I was too shy to come up to you. And then I'm just like, yo, next time you see me, just tap me, shake me. And I'm like, I'll take a picture. I'll say what's up. I'm not mean.
I mean, I kind of get it because when I first started seeing your content, I wanted to be like, I want to be friends with him. He's so cool. But I'm like, that's random and that's really weird. And then you jump into Clubhouse. I'm like, and I told my sister is like probably a bigger fan of you than I am. My sister's like, when I saw you on Clubhouse, I told my sister, oh my God, Jeppy's on Clubhouse. She was like, oh my God, make friends with him.
It's so funny.
I love it. Well, Jeppy, thanks for sharing all of these. This is really, really awesome. But we also really want to dive into, because obviously in the social media world, so many people know Tita Jhett, right? Like that's who they know. That's why, as you said, people like have to decode you on their phone. Like, is that really him? Because they don't really know Jeppy. They know Tita Jhett. So today we really want to dive into who Jeppy is. So can you share with us who is Jeppy as a friend?
Loyal. Like if we really vibe, all my best friends know I'm like ride or die. And even, friends that are not at like really best friend level, but I'm still like, if somebody messes with you, let me know and I'll deal with it. So I'm really loyal. If I know, I don't know, I have like a sixth sense and I can tell within like maybe 5 to 10 minutes if we're going to be friends, like friends or not, or just acquaintances. So I guess I feel people's auras. So I kind of know like if somebody's trustworthy or not. And I'm rarely wrong about it. But I would like to say I'm loyal. I'm a loyal friend. I'm a Virgo, so I'm like ride or die.
Oh my gosh, I know all about Virgo.
I love it.
Who is Jeppy as a son?
So I'm the only child.
Oh,
so I'm the spoiled one. Yeah. So it's just me and my parents. Yeah. Oh God, as a child, I would like to say behaved. Respect. I mean, I think my parents did a good job raising me. It's just the three of us, so it's just kind of like, I don't know, our life is very simple. Like there's been crazy times, speed bumps and stuff, but that's every family. But I think when it comes down, I still live with them. So if that doesn't say what kind of child I am.
I love it.
But yeah, I think they did a good job. I've done what I was told. I respected who I needed to respect it. Keep in mind, I said respected who I needed to respect.
I love the disclaimers.
Yeah. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm a good mix of both of them, and also myself.
Wait, who's the tall one? Because where did you get your height from?
My mom's really short, but my dad's like 5'9". But the men on my mom's side are like 5'10" and up. So I got the height from there. I got the height from them, then the chubbiness from my dad's.
But you've lost a lot of weight, huh? Like, I mean, you put your weight
throughout the years.
On social media.
The first, that's something I like to share because a lot of people. Just like a side note, a lot of people message me like, "How did you do it? How did you do it?" And like my tip always, I'm just like, love yourself heavy first, and then the rest is nothing.
Yeah.
So if you try to change, but you like start with hating your image, because I mean, like weight wasn't. I did it for the energy, because I felt better, and then I knew the result was just going to be slimming down. But it was never like people go into like number wars with themselves. So I'm just like, try like loving yourself big, like thicker.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just easy.
Yeah.
So that's always my tip to everybody.
I love that.
Like, don't worry about the number. Just worry about, and then if it's just like really, because I understand people are moms, people are parents, their lifestyles are busy. And in those situations, I was just like, look, just think about being on this planet long enough to see great grandchildren.
Yeah.
And make the change now, because that will keep you going. And with me and my family, there's like a long line of health problems. So I'm just like, and I'm 32. So I'm like, I have to make the changes now. It's not about weight. It's about, being in good health conditions.
Longevity and being able to, function in a really optimal way, manner as we get older.
Yeah. But yeah, I share, I don't share everything that goes on. Like I am very protective of posting like my parents, in pictures or my family, because the internet kind of is a scary place sometimes. And if I'm ever in that situation, I'm like, is it okay for me to post this public? Can I
Yeah.
post everybody in this? So I'm very what's the word, courteous to to stuff like that, especially when it comes to people that are close to me or family.
That's awesome.
What about a little bit more personal? Who is Jeppy as, not in a romantic way, but as a lover?
Wait a minute.
As a lover? Oh man.
Not a sexual way, but
all in. I know, again, Virgos go all in when it comes to love in whatever shape or form. So I'm a big giver of love, especially if we vibe, whether it be on a friend level or any kind or family member. Like if there's like a status of love, like we got each other, then it's all give and never expecting anything back. So like, love hard, play hard.
yeah, I love it. I also heard you say somewhere on the podcast that you're best friends with Tim Pavino.
Tim Pavino, yeah. So we've been friends for a long time, since we were like teenagers. And our story is it starts with entertainment. So he grew up in Seattle. I was over here on the East Coast. And at the time, YouTube was like Asian dominated because it was new. And, at the time, entertainment had paid no attention to Asian people. So Asian people like hopped on YouTube and started, that's when content creating started. So, me and Tim grew up almost the same. I mean, he comes from a musical family, but we grew up as two Filipino American dudes who loved OPM, who loved singing in Tagalog. So he would do the concerts in the West Coast, and I would do the same concerts on the same tour on the East Coast. And so we stumbled upon each other's covers, and then we connected that way. And we just like, we had this good friendship, and it started from music.
And I mentioned that because one time my mom was at a friend's party, and she was telling me, "Oh my God, my friend called her son, and her son came and him and his friends came and they sang. They were good singers, and I didn't know, but I guess they're popular." And then she sends me a picture. It was Tim.
Yeah.
My mom's in Seattle, so anyway.
Nice. Yeah, we go way, way back.
That's awesome. Jeppy, do you miss being a chef? Or you're like, nah, that's a past life. I'm happy,
that my family asked me that during Thanksgiving the other day. I don't miss the stress. Because keep in mind, I was managing a shop. I was in charge of ordering. I was in charge of a staff of like 8 or 9. And I was coordinating how the business flowed, and creating partnerships with, clients around the city. So it was a lot of like responsibility. And I think, this was like my early mid-20s. So I had the energy, but like a couple years doing it, it started to get, and I wanted them to win so bad. So I would be like, yes, let's do it. Yes, let's do it. I said yes to everything. Because you want to, it's business. You have to be business minded. You want to create these relationships with people. I just burnt myself out because I just put too much on my plate. But I miss the good times. Excuse me. I just don't miss the stress. And I don't know I don't know if I could do it again, just because I don't have the energy that I used to have. And I'm very hands-on. Like if I need to do the dishes, I'm going to go do the dishes because it needs to be done. So I'm not just like one of those chefs that are just like, well, I'm the boss. You guys do it. So that's just my work ethic. Even when I do events for, TFC or something, if you guys need help setting up the tables, I'm going to grab the table and the chair and set it up too. So I'm very like hands-on, and people are just like, no, just sit there. I was like, no, I'm going to help. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So it's just my nature.
I love that. And I can relate to that. I mean, as a marketing director for the mall, we have events, and sometimes the maintenance guy and the housekeeping guys are like moving, stages and tables, and I would help, and they would feel bad because I guess maybe previous marketing directors like wouldn't help. And like, look, if I ask you to do all this, like I have to be willing to also lift. To
also help. Exactly.
Yeah. And do put in all your effort as well. Yeah, that's awesome. I asked that Jeppy because my brother is a chef. He he's been at different restaurants, and his newest place right now is at Catch LA, and it's like a really fancy restaurant here in in LA. It's beautiful, but apparently a lot of the chefs there are Filipinos. He's the executive sous chef right now at that place.
Nice.
And he loves what he does, right? It's a very, very, very busy place. Like they literally have celebrities there every day that go there, and they don't have tickets for their orders, so the orders are just called out, and you have to listen, and it's so quick paced, right?
See, I'm not trained to do that. I wasn't trained to do that. My first job, we were spoiled. We had it was all electronic. So I had my own screen
nice.
with whatever I had to make is on my screen. So when I see like real kitchens with like the old school chefs and like just calling out, I'm like, I would be fired the first day. Because I can't, my brain can't work like that.
Yeah, I don't even know how he works it. Yeah, it's really, really hard. But chefs really work long days, and it's a lot of being on your feet, right? And it's a lot of like just hard work. And he's also like, he's in his he's 30. He just turned 31, and he's like, I really love what I do, but I don't want to do this forever. This is so exhausting. So I just look at you too, and I'm like, man, there's gotta be something for my brother as well, because again, same thing like when you're like, I need to sign, I need to get out of this.
Yeah, it takes a lot out of you. Like I was working like a nurse. I was working 3 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Some days like I would work more. And my when looking back, like my 20s went by fast. So like now looking back, I'm like, I wish I had more balance. It got to the point where my family just knew I was working, so they wouldn't invite me places because they knew. Yeah, which is like when you think about it, at the time I was just like, I'm so over this. This is so sad. I can't see like my nieces and nephews grow up, and now they're like all teenagers. I'm just like, where this is the time gone?
Yeah.
So it's like going back, I would probably figure, if I could do it all again, I would figure out more balance of time.
Yeah.
Where I have more personal, because like I put everything into the place I was working. And I never went on a vacation. I would save the days up because we went to the Philippines every year. I would just save all the days up until we went to the Philippines. But I never like went to the beach. I like, if my friends go, I'm just like, well, I count me out because I can't go. So it's really finding that balance. And if I could do it all again, I would probably put my foot down more.
Need to send money to the Philippines? We've got just the app for you. Download the Sendwave app now, available on Google Play or Apple Store. You can send money to your loved ones in the Philippines without paying any fees. The recipient will receive their money through their GCash, any major bank accounts, or to any partnered cash pickup locations. The money transfer is sent quickly within minutes, and bank transfers within 1 to 5 hours. That's fast! Download the app today, sign up, and select the Philippines flag. When prompted, enter the promo code ALLABROAD in one word to receive a bonus of $10 or close to 500 pesos. If you forget to enter the code in the beginning, you can still do it on the upper right-hand side of the app by clicking on the person icon and finding the promo code field. Remember, the code is ALLABROAD.
What's your favorite dish to make for your family?
Ooh, weirdly enough, they like the way I make potato salad, just so random. Like one year I just made it for, I don't know what holiday it was, but I just made it. And I don't do anything special. And they always, they ask for it in Thanksgiving. I'm like, I'm not going to make potato salad on Thanksgiving. It's like, that I made sans revel one year for Christmas. And it's so tedious. They ask for it every year. It's so
tedious. Yep.
And it's just so like, I don't have the counter space for it. So I was like, why did I make it that way? It was good, but it was just like, it's time consuming. But I love pastas. I love working with pastas. I'm kind of weak on the Filipino food, ironically, because I went to culinary school, but my reasoning is I never had to cook it because everybody else was like, my mom was cooking it. All my titas were cooking it. And I can do it, but I can't do it to the point where, our moms and stuff, they just know.
Yes, exactly.
Teach it.
Yeah.
You just know. You just have to do it for like 30 years. So it's something I kind of want to go into. and have my
I-
own little twist to things.
I love that you said that because my brother and I are exactly the same. I'm not a chef, but like I love cooking, but I cannot cook Filipino food. I cook everything
can't.
else. My brother is the same. He's a chef, does not cook Filipino food at all. But Sans Rival is definitely a Filipino thing. I mean, at least in my family, every holiday back at home in the Philippines, I always remember it's always every December. My aunt and I would always need to make Sans Rival, and it is very tedious. It's like you have to wait for that
wanted
wafer to
make it
crisp.
because it's so expensive at the store here. So I'm like,
Exactly.
it's like $50 for like a little,
Yeah.
So I was like, let me try making it, because if I can make it, we don't have to spend all so much money
Exactly.
buying, and then making it, I'm like, I know why you're
Understand.
charging $50.
Yeah. It's not easy to make.
It's not easy to make.
On the
funny.
other hand, I grew up, my mom forced me to help in the kitchen. So I can make Filipino food, but don't ask me my recipes or anything, because I got their bad habit of just putting stuff until it tastes
Just
good.
by taste, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how much cup of this or how much teaspoon. I don't know. I mean, you can look that up on Google, but the way I make my food, like I can make like caldereta oxtails, I can make chicken adobo, I can make like sometimes, I think one year I made the turkey, I don't know if you know this, but inasal, as much as I can,
Inasal.
style with like lemongrass and calamansi and
Ooh, I gave my friend a tip because he was complaining about dry turkey for Thanksgiving. So what I usually do is like we take the white meat, because everybody goes for the dark meat first, and I rehydrate the white meat in like soy sauce and vinegar and make like a quick adobo.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And eat it on rice. So I always tell us, like, if you have like dry white meat, just kind of make a quick adobo with vinegar and soy sauce and some sugar
Yeah.
and eat it on rice. They're like, I didn't think about that.
That's how Filipinos are. We repurpose food like the next day.
We
That's
do.
why-
I know, 'cause I hate
That's why
throwing away food.
Yeah, that's why there's lechon kawali. That's like
Yeah.
lechon a day old, and they do something else with it, right? So
Yep, exactly.
I love that. So I'm curious to know. I do have a question for you. You already kind of talked about why you work with other people. You kind of have that vibe, if they want to create. But I want to know, and I ask all of our guests because I'm kind of gathering data of why someone wants to work with a specific person. So I guess my question to you is like, why would other people want to work with you? What is it about you that other people want to work with?
That's a good question. I really pay attention to either what they're trying to sell, or I always ask every time I work with somebody, so like, what's the message? What's the overall message you want your audience to receive?
Yeah.
Especially, working with fam. A lot of the themes in all the events I worked with fam was like, resilience, survival, rising up, whether it be, as the culture or during the pandemic. So every time I sit down with somebody that wants to work with me, I'm just like, so what's the overall message? Even if it's a brand, I'm like, what are we trying to sell? Who's our target? Is our target just Titas, or is our target, everybody that, wants to use this product or whatever? So I'm very adamant. That's like the first thing I ask, like, what is the message? What are we selling? What are we purveying? What are we trying to get people to think or connect to? And then that's how I adjust my part to it. But I always want to nail down their message first. So I'm never in like a space where I'm just like, well, this is what I can offer as Tita Che, and this is how it's going to be, and this is the line she has to hit. I push the ball back on their court. I'm just like, let me know what you guys need, and then I'll do my best applying what I can do to your message.
Yeah. You're service focused. It's like you're really wanting to serve people that you're working with, or the client, or whatever that may be, because you want to make sure that what they're trying to do with their product or their company gets put out correctly. Yeah.
And I love to personalize it. I always ask them, like, does your staff or your company have any inside jokes? Do you have any one-liners that you guys, slogans you guys always do? Then I'm going to write it into the joke. So I always ask that, because I always want to just personalize it. I don't want to just slap Tita Che on it and just say the brand, and then that's that. I mean, I work with Sweeney with, the beauty, and I'm just like, okay, let's do like Tita Che's beauty tips. And I was just like, and the beauty tips really come from that's true. It's like came from my Lola. The whole patting of the thing, I'm stealing that from my grandma.
I can relate. My mom did that. So just a background for everyone listening. I had a beauty convention called Cosmicon, and I asked, and one of our partners was SoCal Filipino. So I asked Jeppy to do a little skit to promote the beauty conference, and I think he asked me, oh, what do you want to, the video to accomplish? Or, just beauty tips from Tita Che, just something funny so we can share. And he went off on real stuff, because I'm like, I remember that one of his tips was double chin.
I learned this from my Lola. Every morning and every night, I pat my face like this with my hand. It gets rid of the double chins and it uplifts the skin on my face, on my beautiful face. So do this with your hand, pat it, or if you want to use another object, you can do that. I don't judge.
I had to remove because she was like, or use something, a different object. I was like, oh,
I know. That's the director's cut.
Yeah.
I love it. Sorry, Sweens, you wanted to talk about the SoCal Filipino?
Yeah, so speaking of SoCal Filipinos, I know you Jeppy, have a special with them coming up, a Christmas special. So we're going to air this, or we're going to release this, We're going to release this before that special. Feeling lang. We're going to release this before their special. So what can people expect during the SoCal Filipinos holiday special with Tita Che?
So it's like a mini, can I disclose it? Jason might kill me. It's a mini Christmas concert with Tita Che. I promised Jason a few months ago, I was like, yo, when you hit, is it 25K? It was a certain number. When you hit 25K, let's do something, either like a Tita Che concert. Luckily, like the stars lined up because it landed right on Christmas. I was like, all right, let's do Christmas concert. Let's do like a little mini Christmas concert. So I'm in the process of getting that together and working with Jason again. And so I'm excited.
So there's going to be lots of singing.
A lot of singing. I think this is another aspect of Tita Che is I always had aspirations of working in music, whether it be OPM or something. And I got to integrate that with Tita Che because I could sing in her, and I could sing songs that I wouldn't really sing as me. And then I would I always kind of just like sing in a Tita way. And then there's a moment where it's just like, wait, but he can really sing though. So I
love it.
I can incorporate my love for music, and I like to use Tita Che to promote OPM also, because I'm a big OPM advocate.
Yeah,
especially teaching these youngins where all this talent comes from with music and songwriting and singing. Yeah.
I almost called you Tita Che. I can relate to that. And lately, I've been listening to OPM on my drives. I'm belting out like really old school songs.
Yes.
And I'm like, and you didn't grow up in the Philippines, so we would joke around and say, I'm listening to all the songs our yayas would listen to back in the day.
Yeah, back then we say it's bouquet. What's the term for
what is bouquet? Shit.
It's like ew, like you're listening to that, like
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's like
It's so jologs.
Yeah, jologs, exactly.
Yeah, it's so jologs.
But now I'm like, why am I belting this out of my car? I'm like, oh my God. Anyway.
Yeah, we go back then when we were like, ew, we don't want to listen to that. We want to listen to the English songs, And then now we're like, no, OPM, please. Do you still get nervous, Jeffy, when you perform, or?
Yes. Especially if it's just a hosting thing, or if I've done some gigs of like me singing. I always get nervous in like the right before. But then, especially if it comes to even Tita Chesa or like interviews, I get like a moment of like anxiety, and then like right when it's time to walk out, I'm just like, it just clicks on. It's weird. It just clicks onto me. I'm just like, what's up? Especially when it's like when I do things like Barrio Fiesta or ASAP, I have to walk on stage with like thousands of people. We did like the Sydney Opera House thing for ASAP Sydney, and it was just the arena from like ceiling to floor. I was just like, I was really nervous. Like my knees were shaking. Oh, but it was like a great experience. I was just like, Like once I'm supposed to turn on, it's weird. I just turn on. But then when I
Yeah.
turn off, I'm just like, I'm so exhausted. I'm just like, that
Yeah.
was crazy.
Oh my god, Jeppy, I just thought of this. You're 6'1", and you said big bone, thick to the bones. So when you go to these assets, you must be towering all these Filipinos.
Yeah.
I'm only 5'4", and I tower a lot of Filipinos.
It's a lot. That's why I'm used to stares because I'm just like, they're just staring at me because I'm a tall Filipino. But then, I mean, well, some of these artists, they're tall, these youngins that are on, you see on Acid, they're as tall as me.
The mixed ones?
Darren Espanto is taller than me. Kyle Echari is tall. Like, these kids are catching up. I'm like, what are you guys eating?
They're mostly mixed, I'm thinking.
I think, yeah, it's like that, the mixed race.
Genetically modified.
Right?
Genetically mixed.
And I didn't drink milk when I was a kid, like growing up, because I'm
That's what your
lactose, so I'm
parents
just
told
like,
you, right?
yeah,
Like,
so I'm
drink
just
milk so
like,
you get taller.
How did I get so? I don't know. I don't know how I got so
I
tall.
wasn't even breastfed.
I don't think I was.
Sorry,
either.
Mom. Talking about my mom's breasts.
That's so funny.
Oh my goodness. Well, the holidays are coming up. And so, Jeppy, what's your favorite family Christmas tradition?
We always have a pajama party.
Oh,
We always
fun.
come in our pajamas. We confirmed it on Thanksgiving. We were like, okay, 20, we celebrate on the 25th. So
Yeah.
everybody can have, the cousins can have Noche Buena with their in-laws.
Yeah.
And then we gather, our side gathers all on Christmas Day. Yeah, we always have a pajama party. And I think this year, and there's always a theme. So this year it's seafood. One year was pasta. So we're a weird family.
That's awesome.
And if there's no planning, we usually have half and half. But I think the tradition is just come in sweats and a hoodie and be prepared to eat and just lounge all day.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. How about your favorite Filipino or Christmas song? Can you give us a little sample singing?
Oh, Filipino Christmas song.
He's like, me, warm up.
Can I sing this morning? Wait. How about Sana ngayon Pasko na 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 pa rin ako. I forgot the words, but Sana ngayon Pasko.
Sana
That's a
ngayon
good
Pasko.
one.
Oh, love it.
So before we approach the end of our time together, we want to know if someone invested $1 million, what would you do with it?
In anything, like what would I do?
Anything, yeah. Said, Jeppy, I love what you do. I think you would, help my money grow. Here's $1 million. What would you do?
Ooh, well, so now I'm seeing a lot of I don't know what you call it, AI technology,
Mm-hmm.
where they do like kind of what I do, but like in real time. There's like a singing show where they're like hooked up, and then what the audience sees is animated, like hologram.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that technology going on. It's kind of like Avatar.
Yeah.
So I would invest in that, and then I can do Tita Jhett in person.
Yes.
And then a Tita Jhett tour, all
That's
that. Like I
amazing.
can
Yeah.
do, I can do it in person. I think, I would invest in kind of leveling up what I do. It could be like an animated series. Everybody always asks me like, what are you going to do if Snapchat disappears and you can't do the face anymore? I'm like, well, I know the technology is out there. It's probably expensive. So I could still, if I really invested my time and energy to it, I could probably recreate it. Because when I did the commercial, they animated my face. We didn't use Snapchat because of, copyright issues. I filmed it as myself in character, and they went in and animated my face and changed my voice. So I know it can be done. It's just going to cost me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I were given him, I would level up Tita Jhett. If it's towards content creating specifically, I would level up either like a series. I would produce the series, and then I would pitch it to somebody else, Mix or ABS or even Amazon or Netflix or something. But I would make it to good use.
Yeah, that's
Are
awesome.
you going to be like Eddie Murphy, where you play all the characters?
I would so be down for that.
Yeah.
I would so be down for that.
You come out as Jeppy and then as Tita Jhett.
Right?
Tito, I don't know, Tito Boy and Happy baby.
Well,
That'd be
Tita
so
Che
funny.
also has evolved, right? Like, I mean, I saw some stuff where like you have like a daughter, right?
Yeah, I've introduced like I wanted to create the big part of Tita Che. I let the audience mold her. So
Mm.
even in the first few years, I would post stuff, but I would pay attention to what jokes worked, what jokes people clinged onto, and then I would let them shape her personality. I knew I didn't want her to be the typical toxic person. The only times that she's toxic is to be toxic to somebody else that's toxic.
Yeah.
But then I would kind of keep her, I would have elements of that classic Tita behavior, but then I would always end it to something, open-minded. And she's like, I'm a cool Tita. So that's kind of how I shaped her.
Yeah.
So I would, I think I would. It would be funny. But yeah, I'm always, she's always evolving and she's always coming with the times and relating to everybody. I've introduced different characters just so she has kind of like a backstory. So if you dig deep enough, I don't feature them a lot, but if you dig deep enough in the holiday content, you'll see like the husband and the 2 kids.
Do you have someone in your family that's like Tita Che?
Not fully. My mom is not. I think that's why it's so funny to us, because my mom is not like Tita Che. But I have certain titas they have elements of the classic Tita behavior. Not so much toxic. Yeah, we're a family full of malditas. So when somebody's acting problematic, we're just like, problema mo. We're just like, okay. We just shake it off. We're like, okay, whatever, go over there. So it's like collectively, no. Tita Che has a very I pick little elements of everybody that's influenced me, like Jokoy, Rex Navarrete, certain people in my family, and I was a very observant, or I was obsessed with like people watching as a kid because I was so shy. So I would sit in the corner at parties, but I would pay attention to what's going on around me. So I would see how these titas would interact and act, and like from the movements and stuff like that. So I always paid attention to that. So I just emulated, the images from when I was a kid and what I see in entertainment to kind of portray her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jeppy, I have one last question before we go into our little quick game here. I love just the Tita Che and the embodiment of like, spreading laughter and joy and, spreading awareness about Filipino culture. If you were to kind of summarize it in like a short, sentence, like what else is Tita Che? Like what is the embodiment of Tita Che aside from like what I said, like the laughter and Filipino culture, if you were to describe another thing about her?
I would like to call her a bridge from, taking our old mentality and opening it up to the way the world is now. I really try to use her to just bridge that gap that our generations have of, when it comes to certain issues or problems or just like our behavior as a people. Because, we're not all, golden and rainbows and stuff. We have a very complicated history. So I always, even in the beginning, I'm like, I want to use her as a bridge to just open conversation. And every time Sweeney has been there, every time I do like a panel or like an interview on Clubhouse or stuff, it starts out funny, but then when we open the floor to questions, it becomes like a Tita Che life coaching moment. And I'm saying it as Tita Che, but it's really coming from here and here. It's like really me, like, I always get asked that, how do you deal with toxic family members? And my answer is always like, stop drinking the poison. That's how you stop it. But then with Tita Che, I always advocate whatever you do, whatever problems you have, whatever issues you're trying to resolve, if you lead with respect and love and not having it come from a place of anger and resentment, then that's how you guys are going to slowly patch things up and, grow to a place where you guys could probably heal. So yeah, I would call her Tita Che as a bridge. And that's kind of how I want to use her, because I think what's special about the generation I come from, we grew into the technology, so I can grab from the old school and also relate to the new school. And that's like an open field of content with Tita Che, because I can hit people from a lot of ages.
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
If I were to describe her in a sentence, Tita Che is a bridge.
I love
That's
it.
kind of how I want to use her.
I love it. Thank you for sharing this with us, Jeffy.
course.
It's such a pleasure. Let me see. It's 8:30. We want to be respectful of your time. So if you have a hard out, we can end it here.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, okay. We'll just do a quick little improv game. This game is called Portunately, Unfortunately.
Fortunately.
So all three of us are gonna play, and we're
Okay,
just gonna
cool.
see where this leads us. So the goal here is Sweeney just
I'm
made the
nervous now.
sign of the cross. The goal here is for you basically to kind of bring out Tita Jhett, right? You would speak as Tita Jhett, and then Sweeney and I would try our best to speak as if we were Tita Jhett. We would like try
Or
to
one
get
of the
into-
titas.
one of the titas, another tita. Like we're
Tita
gonna
party.
try. Yeah, it's a tita party right now.
Okay.
And
Oh,
so
I wish I could have done it. I have a different setup for her voice, but we can do it.
it's okay. So I would say something like, fortunately, I what would we do this morning? Oh, fortunately, my cat woke me up, and so that I can be on time for the interview today. And then Sweeney would say,
And then I would say,
unfortunately,
unfortunately, you still look asleep.
but fortunately, I have something to put on my face so that I can look beautiful. And so it's kind of
Unfortunately, I don't have my glasses. I can't see your beauty.
something
know.
like that.
Okay, so it's kind of like almost like a roast.
Yeah, like throwing
Okay.
shade, but
Yeah.
but going back and forth between fortunately and unfortunately.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So we will, I guess, have you start and pick a topic, whatever it is that you want, and then we'll just vibe off of that.
And then after
Um,
Jeppy, so we don't go over. After Jeppy, Kat can go, then I'll go, and then Jeppy again.
Yes, and we'll just go round robin.
So I start with just anything about fortunately.
Yeah.
Okay. Fortunately, I did not wake up with gout from Thanksgiving dinner.
Unfortunately, the gout is probably gonna come soon because you ate too much.
Fortunately, I already pooped what I ate.
Unfortunately, oh, this is so hard. Unfortunately, the rest of the family has the gout.
Oh, but fortunately, we're a family of nurses that can be treated. It's gonna be okay.
Unfortunately, I have other problems besides gout. I have bills.
What was that? What am I? Unfortunately?
Fortunately,
And you're fortunately now.
Oh, fortunately, I have budget to pay my bills. Che.
Well, unfortunately, I was gonna be a nurse, but never mind because I became an entertainer and I still am not making it and don't have money.
wait, was that fortunately?
Unfortunately.
Oh, dang. Okay. Fortunately, I'm like a Filipino. I have 10 different jobs and hoping one of them will make it, but still looking for a sugar daddy.
Am I unfortunate? Unfortunately, all the sugar daddies I know are all taken.
So she tried them all.
Oh gosh, I guess we can end there.
I cannot. So calling our sugar daddies that are watching this,
Call us 1-800.
comment down below.
Below. Lower. Low.
It's a below job.
I cannot.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Good job, Jeppy. I was nervous too when she said that. So Kat does a lot of improv.
That's a hard game. I've never played a game like that before.
I know. You'll be quick on your feet. Well,
Mhm.
thank you, Jeppy, for playing with us, and thank you for being here with us today. If you made
Of
it,
course.
if you're not Filipino and you're not a fan of Jeppy and Tita Jhett, and you made it through this entire podcast confused, it's because Jeppy and Tita Jhett are two different characters in one person. Just in case.
It's so funny. There's a small percentage of people that literally think Tita Jhett is
Separate.
one a woman and two separate from me, and I just like
Do they
I think
message you?
this is so funny.
Do they message you and say, Jeppy, can you ask Tita Che?
Sometimes they comment like she's funny, and then they see me and they're like, it doesn't click to them.
Yeah, their brain can't calculate it. They're like, what's
They're
happening?
like, wait, they're two different. I'm like, I guess I play her really well if they think it's the actual, like, you know. Oh my gosh.
They can't divide.
Right? They can't separate it.
Thank you, Jeppy. And Jeppy,
Thank you.
Tell our listeners and our viewers, if they are already not following you, where to find you and etc.
Yeah, on all platforms at Jeppy Paraiso. TikTok, I think it's Jeppy Paraiso, but everywhere else it's at Jeppy Paraiso.
And
Nice.
your merchandise, your merch.
Oh yeah, it's available on Amazon. Che merchandise. There's t-shirts, sweaters, hoodies. So if you check it out on the Amazon, it's there.
I love it.
Anything that they can look forward to, something about Tita Che or something you're working
Our collab with SoCal Filipinos, Tita Che's mini Christmas concert. There'll be more Christmas songs I want to post because I love Christmas.
Yes.
Christmas content. Just expect Tita Che to kind of just sporadically pop up during December.
Yeah.
To spread Christmas cheer. Hi, I'm Jeppy Paraiso, and you're listening to All Abroad podcast.
Yes. Thank you so
Yes.
much. That's it. It's a wrap.
Woo-hoo.
So you guys make sure you like and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell, and like all these young ones say, smash that like button. I don't know what they
Smash
say.
it.
Smash it. Comment down below. Lower.
Yes. If you want to smash, comment down below.
We are